السلام عليكم. أنا اليوم في مدريد لأغطي حدث مهم جدا لساب اللي هو سافاير وتكد. شركة ساب هي شركة مختصة في أنظمة ERP. أنظمة ERP اللي هي أنظمة إدارة الموارد للشركات أو تخطيط الموارد للشركات بشكل سريع، اللي هي مثلا لما يجيك الآيفون جاهز عندك في البيت، أنظمة ERP هي اللي تخطط لشركة أبل المصنعة، اللي هي الموظفين، إدارة الموظفين، رواتبهم، إجازاتهم، أمورهم، المواد اللي في التصنيع، فواتير المصانع، الكهرباء، التلفون، كل شيء تصرفه الشركة وكل موارد تملكها الشركة كيف يعني إدارتها وكيف يخطط لإدارتها وإيش بيحتاجوا في المستقبل. يحتاجوا موظفين أكثر في أي مجال، مواد يحتاجوها، تكاليف التوصيل، تكاليف أي تكاليف يعني، أو إدارة الموارد الخاصة بالشركة تديرها أنظمة ERP طبعا لا أنظمة كثيرة تديره، وأحد الشركات الرائدة في ERP هي شركة SAP أو SAP. واليوم هذا المؤتمر بنغطي عن بعض التقنيات اللي استخدموها جديدة. طبعا شركة ساب ما هي فقط لشركات كبيرة زي أبل وغيرها. شركة ساب تخدم القطاع، المؤسسات الصغيرة والمتوسطة والكبيرة والانتربرايزز اللي هي الضخمة، يعني اللي هي مثلا 20,000 موظف، 50,000 موظف وغيره. أنظمة ساب تدير أشياء كثيرة نستخدمها بشكل يومي. مثلا في شراء تذاكر، تقريبا 60% من شركات الطيران تستخدم أنظمة ساب. لما تشتري حاجة أونلاين تقريبا 50% من شركات الشحن، أنت لما تجي تدير الشحنة حقتك وتشوفها أنت قاعد تستخدم أنظمة ساب بشكل غير مباشر. في أنظمة كثيرة، أشياء كثيرة نستخدمها يوميا. سوبر ماركت تستخدم أنظمة ساب. ناخذ على فكرة أوسع عن طريق هذه التغطية إن شاء الله، ونتكلم عن التقنيات تستخدمها ساب وكيف إنها تدير هذه الكمية الكبيرة من المعلومات، كيف نقدر نطلع منها معلومة مفيدة باستخدام تقنيات حديثة. فتابعونا إن شاء الله.
Is your organization ready for the business challenges ahead? Sapphire Now from Madrid is your opportunity for exclusive access to the most innovative solutions that drive success today, and prepare your business for whatever the future might bring. At Sapphire Now from Madrid, get an informed look forward. Learn how customers are preparing for the future by innovating with SAP today. Hear SAP's vision on technology trends like in-memory computing, business analytics, mobility, and on-demand. Network with SAP customers, partners, executives, and industry experts. Explore 4 campuses: business analytics, mobility, run better, and technology innovation, filled with solutions, demonstrations, and theater presentations. Be part of the live studio audience in the Spotlight Theater, featuring interviews with SAP executives, customers, partners, and press. Talk to other customers and gain insight from shared experience. New this year, Sapphire Now and SAP TechEd Madrid conferences are simultaneous in one location, giving you access to more of SAP than ever before. The opportunities are endless. Shouldn't you be innovating with SAP now? Find out how at Sapphire Now from Madrid.
Christopher Columbus's discovery changed the future. He didn't have a complete map, but what he did have was a bold vision and the confidence that the journey he set out on would be worth it. It was. It led him to a new world. Hello, my name is Gabriel Glenn, and I'm here this morning to explore some ideas with you. Because we're living in times of profound change, political, social, economic, and spiritual, seismic change that technology is helping to drive and define. And for those of us prepared for these changes, for this journey, there's equally profound opportunity. Wondering what the new world ahead might look like, what 2015 might look like? Then look to the person next to you, because it's in their imagination. Look around. There are 4,800 imaginations in this room alone, including yours. Yours. And yours there, and thousands more with us this morning on the web. And springing from all your imaginations, a wealth of possibilities for your industries and companies. And what about you? How will your future unfold? Where will you and your business be, say, 4 to 5 years from now? Because you have choices. You can either make the future or be overtaken by it. I mean, we know this, don't we? We feel this in our bones. We have choices that will take us to one future reality or another. Choices that will affect not just our own lives, but the lives of everyone around us. So how and what will you choose? Everyone is facing fierce challenges, sweeping technological progress, where the velocity of data is building daily, and we have to manage and make sense of this on the fly. The whole world is more volatile than ever. A world in which we have to stay flexible through the instability and unpredictability. A world where our businesses and lives are extremely interconnected.
Every business innovation starts with a question. Why don't we? How can we? What if? Questions are the source of growth, efficiency, and progress, but only for businesses capable of answering them in the blink of an eye. Because when massive amounts of data can be analyzed immediately, there's nothing holding innovation back. It's time to question. It's time to turn the potential into the actual. It's time the best-run businesses were powered by What If? SAP in-memory computing.
Hello, so tell us about what is in-memory computing in basic terms.
Memory computing is basically utilizing the power of computers you have today, the power of RAM, the speed and performance you have on servers which have a huge amount of RAM, and therefore achieving a high performance of application.
So the usual way is the database are stored inside like something like a hard disk, right? Which is a bit slow. So now the information is stored, the databases are stored in RAM, which is much faster, and you start searching inside the RAM, right?
Yes. So the traditional way is that everything comes from the hard drive. As soon as a query is executed, it's loading data from the hard disk, which takes the time, which is actually reduced by loading basically the database before into the RAM, having all the data you need already stored in there, and then it's just analyzing the data inside of the main memory.
And the keynote is it was 100,000 times faster than the regular way, right? So can we have a demonstration about it?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
So we have here a showcase which is basically allows you to browse through data.
Okay.
We have fictional sales data.
Okay.
Which is supposed to represent a company which is selling all over the world.
Okay.
So it's representing sales transactions.
Okay.
You're able to select a country where you want to analyze the data. The query is executed against the database which is running in the data center right now. So it's in the internet, in the cloud, where the data is retrieved from. So network latency is already included, and the execution time is 1 second.
So this is a live demo, right?
This is live.
And exact data.
Yes.
Okay. So and what you're searching is comparing revenue between countries, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes. This is now countries. We have also products in there which can be compared. So it's just different representation of the data. So here you see, like, for instance, soccer.
Okay.
Shirts are more sold than tennis rackets.
Okay.
You can also browse through the different sports products this company is providing.
Okay.
And we just had a pre-selected thing. And now, again, it's going as a database. It selects the rows. It selects like 33 million rows out of 3 billion rows of data.
3 billion rows.
3 billion rows of data.
Okay.
And that's just in 2 seconds.
Cool. Let's see if this company have sales in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, I'm not sure it's in there. But
So let's give it a test. So you know where Saudi Arabia is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then on your left, yes, you're good. Yeah. That's it. The big one.
I said the data is fictional, so it might not be represent the truth.
Okay. So we have more sales than Spain.
For the soccer triggers.
Okay.
So compared to countries, this particular company is selling a bit more in Spain than for these two products, of course.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
Okay, bye-bye. Are there any customers in Saudi Arabia in particular that you worked with?
Of course.
Yeah.
Aramco is one of our customers who has adopted SAP technologies, and they're one of the early adopters of technologies, and that we are working with to make sure that we understand their need in terms of cloud technologies, as well as a number of others in that area.
Okay. Now, back in the 80s, or back in the 70s, when SAP started, that is, I think, 1972, if I'm right. When SAP started, IBM was dealing with mainframes and terminals, right? Then in the mid 80s, you started like on the server-based and client server. Are we going back to mainframes, as if you think like cloud is a mainframe, since it's clustering of computers, then we're using now the PCs as terminals? Are we going back to mainframe?
I don't think we are going back to mainframe, but if you look at, actually that's a very very interesting question. If you look at how we go about the computing, that we are continuously innovating and evolving that model, and if you look at the cloud, for every stage of the process, as we move from mainframe to client server, as we move from client server to web technologies, as we move from web technologies now to cloud, in every stage we have broadened the flexibility and the power of that platform, and I think we continue to do that with now mobility added, and more importantly the in-memory computing that we are offering. And that the computing will go through that evolution and will continue to have that evolution, and that's one of the key reasons that keeps this industry so exciting.
So let's say if you can see the future, okay, and in the year 2020, do you think companies will have their own servers, or are they gonna just rent clouds and no hassles with IT departments and so on?
I think based on what we are hearing from customers, what customers want is to focus on their business.
Yeah.
And they're leveraging the IT as one of the key instruments of that business conductivity. And if we look at the industry like electricity, 100 years ago, every house and every factory needed to have its own generator.
Yeah.
And it took a while, but today the electricity is available via a centralized source that is made available to everyone. And if we look at computing in that context, there's a very good opportunity that we will parallel that track down the road. I'm not sure if it's 2020 that would be the year that trend will completely be adopted, but looking at what customers want, that seems to be the trend, and eventually we will be adopting that model.
Cool. One last question. We heard in the keynote we talked about in-memory computing.
Yes.
Okay, and with virtualization, mostly what we do is clustering, right?
We are virtualizing many of the capabilities, so we have more flexibility.
And we're clustering multiple computers, into making. So, in-memory computing, is there an application that's gonna use clustering of like different computers to do one task?
Of course, because in-memory computing is a new model where you leverage a much faster memory model, and you're increasing the performance of the system, the overall system, by thousands of times. And these systems are the same application applies whether you have one system or you have a cluster of systems that are running the workload. And the cluster of system will see similar level of improvement in performance. Obviously it varies based on the type of application that it is, but that performance improvement will be very paramount and clear, whether it's one system or multiple systems, as long as they're taking advantage of in-memory computing, and we're very excited about it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, Mr. Alan Benin.
Of course, thank you.
And it was great to meet you.
Likewise, thank you again.
Bye-bye. We were talking about cloud computing and the future of cloud computing, and the term cloud computing is a bit cloudy, right?
Absolutely. Very, very broad.
Yeah, it's very broad. So to be specific, what about SAP? What does it do with cloud computing?
What do we do?
Yes.
Well, there are several aspects, obviously, to it, in several dimensions. Maybe let's start with the one we have a huge installed base who runs most of our products on premise.
Yeah.
Can they use cloud computing, for example, to lower the TCO? Yes, they can. They can. So SAP has invested in tools and an environment to make it easier for customers to take their SAP implementation, their SAP system, and bring it into an infrastructure cloud. Okay, so that's the virtualization and cloud manager initiative that you had this interview about.
So yeah.
But that's just one aspect. Okay,
yeah.
so that's the part of cloud which is interesting for all of our customers, because that could be a means to lower infrastructure cost of an SAP deployment. In fact, SAP, we ourselves, we also use cloud services to complement our own internal IT. So for systems like, for example, training systems, which are only required for a limited period of time, but then sometimes in high quantities, we use cloud services to provision these systems. Okay? So that's infrastructure. That's on the infrastructure level. What we do in our cloud business and what Jim was talking about is we also develop solutions which we run then in our cloud. Okay, so our flagship product is Business by Design. That's the suite that can run or helps a company to run all processes end to end. This morning you saw the gentleman from Skycandy. They have nothing else than Business by Design, and it all runs in the cloud. The only thing they have is PCs, right?
Yeah.
And they need internet access, and that's all what they need. So that's for SME customers. We started with Business by Design for smaller customers by intention. Now it's a proven solution, and now we also open that up and offer it also to larger customers. Okay, but still in the SME space. And then we have software as a service offerings which are targeted at departments, the sales department or the HR department, or in fact all users of the services of an HR department. And those are our so-called LOB solutions, line of business on-demand solutions. In SAP we always use these terms and assume that the entire world would understand, but LOB is really only a department is looking for a solution that helps them. That's then a line of business solution in our speak. So these line of business solutions, they go well with an SAP backend which is maybe installed on premise or in some partner cloud or wherever. So the first solution that has been launched is Sales on Demand. So that's a solution for the sales force of a customer. So a sales agent, they can manage their leads, opportunities. They can record whatever they did with the customer, and then they can also trigger an order. And they can do that very transparent and integrated out of Sales on Demand. We have an integration then built to the SAP backend. Okay, so for a customer, they now have a choice if they already have installed the SAP Business Suite or the ERP part of the Business Suite, and now they realize, oh, we need a CRM solution, or we need to do something with our sales force to make them more efficient. They could either install the CRM product on premise, or if Sales on Demand is more attractive to them, they can use Sales on Demand as an on-demand solution, and then it's still connected to the SAP backend.
Okay, thank you. That was a long answer, but
yes, sorry.
No, it covered almost everything. Now, just to make it basic, let's say there's a guy who started a new company, a media agency, where he provides services, okay, for the clients of designing ads and placing the ads in newspapers and TV and so on. And he have, let's say, about 6 to 7 employees. Can he use your service to manage his business?
Yes.
And he gets rid of the IT department? He doesn't need to create an IT department?
Yeah, see, exactly, that's the point. Usually there's no need to create then an IT department. Today, with Business by Design, a lot of our customers are the entrepreneurial type of customers, just like Skycandy. So they start very, very small, grow fast, and they literally, as the guy said, they manage the company with spreadsheets and then really literally with sticky notes around the screen of the PC to manage the shipments and all that. And then when they have reached a certain size, they realize, now we need a professional solution. Then ERP or building up an IT department, that feels very foreign to them. So they like these on-demand solutions. And I think for Skycandy, it is, as the guy said, it has worked out very well. They're growing so rapidly, and the solution, that's I think the advantage with all the SAP experience and heritage. Business by Design scales, right? So there's no limit that they have to move off this solution, then even if they go faster.
And how much would it cost them?
Business by Design. Business by Design, the pricing model is per user. The standard user is around $140 per month.
Okay.
Okay, and there are different kinds of users. You don't need a full user, it's less, and so on.
Okay, so it's type of the authority of the user will be at a different price, right?
Yes.
Or is it per user? Doesn't matter what authority you have.
Well, well, as I said, the standard user, which means you can use all the functions of the system, is the 149, I think, dollars. And then, but there's also a user if you just use the CRM part of Business by Design, or
the project management part.
Yeah, if there are employee services also built in Business by Design, and if you just use it to, that you have some workflow part and you need to do approvals, then that's a lighter user. So there's a price list.
So what you're gonna give to an entrepreneur who starts a small company is a complete solution, except for maybe the email exchange server and
that's right.
And that's it, right?
They still have to do that.
Yeah, that's maybe you should do that, right?
Yeah, actually,
compete with Google.
I don't think that SAP should offer it. I mean, cloud is also about networks, right? And an ecosystem.
Of course.
So maybe going forward, we could partner with email providers, and then that's possible.
How can we find success stories like the Skull Candy story?
Skull Candy story. All the success stories are on our web on sap.com.
Yeah.
You might need to search a little bit for it.
Yeah, there's a problem
by design.
With large enterprises. Their website is like
we have so much. Right?
Yeah.
So what we are currently doing is, for all of the different on-demand solutions, we are building a specific website which is only focused then on on-demand. You can find most of it already on it's www.ondemand.com.
Okay,
very simple. ondemand.com.
Okay.
And that gives you an overview of all the different on-demand solutions.
But all your solutions is branded with SAP, right? You're not using a co-branding or something like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this interview. It was glad to meet you. Thank you.
I want to highlight quickly. I'm going to shift the microphone to this hand now. I want to highlight quickly some of the trends that we are seeing in the Middle East market, and those should not be a surprise to many of you, but I want to highlight them anyway because I think they're important and they are a definite contributor to our success, because we are not only growing in the market, and our success is not only a result of our execution. Our success is a result of a market shift and being at the market at the right place at the right time, and having a lot less legacy than you would have with our competitors and so on. We're seeing certainly shifts and more investments in software in general in the market. I think the market has spent significant, any IT budget is now shifting in dimension. It's not a major shift, but it's a trend. So companies that used to spend 70 or 80 cents on the dollar on hardware and 20 cents on the dollar on software, that mix is changing. And the reason it's changing is because of the cloud effect and because of the virtualization effect. So hardware costs are getting crushed because hardware is getting virtualized and commoditized to a certain extent. There's a lot of value add still there, but for the most part, companies who used to spend 70-80% of their budgets on hardware, they were kind of rethinking that strategy. Some of them are still there. Some of them are rethinking that, saying, you know what, we're going to crush that down through virtualization or through hosted services or whatever, and we're going to spend a little bit more money on mobility, on analytics, on software, where we can see more value to the business as an IT department, if you will, or as a technology, so to speak. And so that shift is obviously helping us because we are right in that market. We're in the innovation of that space. We're not in the consolidation of the old space. We're not in the wrap and trapping customers into big stacks of equipment and databases and so on. No, we're in the business of taking applications to a completely new level. And you've heard it from Jim today. He talked about the mobility piece. He talked about the HANA piece, and he talked about the cloud. So I want to talk about those, and I want to give you perhaps what's happening in the region in that perspective. So on mobility, we're seeing an incredible pickup on mobility. It's probably the hottest thing out of the three that is picked up very quickly in the Middle East. And again, no surprise, we have a very young population in the Middle East. We have very high penetration of mobile in the Middle East, and so we're seeing our customers immediately jump on it. So the big process manufacturing companies are saying, you know what, why not? You know, this is a time to develop a mobility strategy. Obviously, we're seeing this from our existing customers first, then some of the new customers, it almost acts as an entry into doing business with them. But mobility is a big story. It's picking up very nicely. We have a huge pipeline already. We're barely keeping up, to be honest. So, because everybody wants to run a proof of concept, everybody wants to see it live, etc. So we're kind of catching up, but we see a tremendous pickup in terms of the mobility story. And you've heard this morning how important that is from an innovation perspective and a story perspective for clients in general. If they want to innovate in their own business, they have to do this. This is not a nice to have. And no longer the IT department can say, well, that's a 2013 project. So right now we're working on, you know, warehousing. It doesn't work. Business users want it now, and therefore the innovation has to take effect. It has to take place. So that's on the mobility. On the analytics side, we're seeing the mix of our business. See, our business is ERP, which is our core business. Then we have our analytics business, which is, you know, obviously all of the BI and the GRC and the EPM, and, you know, there's a lot of acronyms there, or we can give you the translation of the acronyms, but in general, business analytics is picking up very nicely. The nice thing about SAP's business analytics is not only it's number one by far in the market, but it also can go over SAP systems or non-SAP systems. So our addressable market is much larger in that space. Whereas with ERP, if a customer has already made a decision to go with someone else on ERP, it's a difficult sale, and it's a much longer cycle to go through. While with analytics, you can pretty much cover the whole market, and that's kind of what we're trying to do as well, is covering the business analytics. We're seeing a huge pickup. Big pickup is in the EPM area, so the enterprise performance management area, especially around strategy management, around business process, planning, budgeting, consolidation, so BPC, budgeting, planning, consolidation. Those two areas are very hot. GRC is starting to pick up. Governance, risk, and compliance is starting to pick up. It's not as hot as, let's say, strategy management or BPC. And then BI has always been there. These are much smaller deals. It's all about reporting. It's about having access to the data, etc. Those are normally, they're just there. So there's always a growth, organic growth, I would say, in that area. Now, what's nice about this space is the HANA area, which I'm sure you know by now that HANA is not actually a lady; it's actually a technology, and we're seeing a nice pipeline. We have not yet seen the first win for us in the MENA region on HANA, but it's very soon, weeks literally. We have a very large pipeline of customers who have jumped on the opportunity to understand what HANA is, starting with our existing customers, and even some customers that do not run SAP see it as an opportunity to consolidate their data warehouses, see it as an opportunity to sort out their data sources and put them all in one place and access them fast and sort out their universals, etc. So lots of technology jargon in there, but to sort out their data, basically, they see HANA as a key engine of going through that. The challenge with that is they always want to see it. And that's a much more difficult thing to show, because you have to set up a proof of concept and you got to go through it, and it's costly and it's timely, and so it takes a little bit longer to go through this. That's why we have not seen the fruits of it yet. However, we will see it this quarter. We will have our first 3 or 4 customers on HANA in the MENA region. That's guaranteed. And then starting next quarter, and then throughout the 2012 year, that will be the year of HANA for SAP in MENA. We will see tremendous pickup. Once the big customers start to shift over, it's like a domino effect. Everybody else will kind of shift over together with the big customers. And that's taking place right now. We have at least 10 to 20 different proof of concepts with large customers that are taking place, and the pipeline is looking really, really good. And as HANA portfolio expands, because HANA is 1 or 2 scenarios, but it's expanding very quickly. Every quarter, SAP is adding more HANA technologies into the software. So then the addressable market for HANA gets bigger. And so that's kind of an exponential growth area for us. It's not just a linear growth area. We're not going to go from, 500K to $1 million to $2 million. We're going to go from $1 million to 5 to 20. It's an exponential growth area because it goes deep and it goes wide and it covers multiple areas. So we're very hopeful and banking on that. We're going to build a center of excellence for HANA in the MENA region to make sure that we have the ability to show customers with the technology.
السلام عليكم. وصلنا لآخر تغطيتنا لحدث ساب. أتمنى تكونوا استفدتوا منه. نمر على السريع. أهم شيء كان هو in-memory computing اللي استخدمه ساب لإجراء عمليات سريعة جدا عن طريق استخدام الميموري لتحليل البيانات. وطبعا ما ننسى أهمية السيرتيفيكت الخاصة بساب، سيرتيفيكت خاصة يعني الواحد اللي هو ناوي يعني لسه ما حدد مستقبل وظيفي، هي أحد الخيارات اللي يدرس أنظمة ساب وياخذ منها سيرتيفيكت، وبيكون له فرص عمل كبيرة خاصة في الشرق الأوسط أو المنطقة العربية والسعودية بالتحديد. بالإضافة لذلك طبعا لأنظمة الناس اللي بادين مشاريع صغيرة جديدة أو مشاريع متوسطة، ما ينسوا يدخلوا على ondemand.com اللي هي الموقع اللي توفره ساب لخدمات عن طريق الكلاود. وأتمنى تكون التغطية هذه عجبتكم إن شاء الله واستفدتوا منها، وشكرا لمتابعتكم. مع السلامة.